Hello everyone, and welcome to the first HRL recap for the Summer Short Track Showdown. We're 2 weeks in, so it's time to get the recaps going. And we've raced 6 different motos in those 2 weeks on all the different track types that we have in the season. And the first race was on a track from Roman. Great oval out of him. And Sol actually ends up taking the W on this one. This race was back and forth. There were a few different people that had the lead at different points in time, but nobody really held it like for that long. It was kind of hard to pull away on this track. Just so many battles, a lot of like 4 and 5 wide moments. In the end, Sol ends up taking the W. Armada actually has a really big opening race, takes a second place. Hunter gets on the podium here. Ended up taking 4th, Roman 5th. And then Salisbury AX. This one has some MX type vibes to it, even though it's an arena cross. Also had a Joker. Which not all the tracks will feature in this season. Maybe a couple of them here or there will. Detail ends up taking a good W on this one. Had a pretty huge gap for that one. I ended up taking 2nd. Roman 3rd. Slaunch 4th. And Camby with pretty good performance in 5th there. And we went to Eternum GK track made by Opix. And this one was pretty sweet. Crazy race. Battle for the overall, going all the way to the end. A lot of crazy crashes, moments, and battles. This is a pretty fun one. Track was fun to race on. Detail ends up taking 2 wins in a row, gets the W on this one. I end up taking 2nd. Slaunch got 3rd, Sol 4th, and Roman 5th in this one. So the overall for this first week, I ended up taking the overall 43 points. Detail 41. Which is pretty crazy after the last place finish of the first race. Ended up having an unfortunate wreck at the end of that one. So, yeah, two wins does a lot to rebound your overall. That's pretty crazy. Sol, very good performance first night into the season as well, 40 points. Roman, solid showing, 38. Slaunch, 36. Hunter, 36 as well. Camby, 32. Armada, 30. Coop, 27. And Vulcan, 25. Vulcan showing up for week 1. And then we go over to week 2, and week 2, this first race was one of the most fun races that I've participated in a long time. This one was a blast. This was Crystal Grotto TRS, first Hog TRS on the season, and one of the cheesier ones. And yeah, it was really fun. It's actually a really good lead battle on this track that lasted like almost the entire race. It was just like kind of back and forth. The leader just is one of those TRS races where it works out the way that you want it to, where the leader just like couldn't pull away. There's always that opportunity in TRS races where if the leader can get through that first set of collisions clean, they can just pull away and run away with it. But that just never happened until like the very end of this one. Kept the race interesting, kept the race really fun. Roman actually ends up picking up his first W the season in this one. Detail 2nd, end up taking 3rd, Slaunch 4th, and Nightmare in 5th. And then we go over to Demetria. Demetria was the Halo 3 oval that I cooked up for this season, giving that a shot, seeing how that would go. Halo 3 terrain oval, and being a timed race as well. This one was pretty fun. There was a little bit of lag cheese with Halo 3. Definitely seemed like it was a little bit worse in the oval setting. I think it has something to do with like everybody being bunched together, because I've noticed in the Halo 3 TRS races as well that like early on in those races, it can be pretty laggy, but like once things get spread out and sorted out a little bit, it feels like not that bad, not that noticeable to me. And yeah, so like in the oval setting with everybody obviously being bunched up more often, there was a little bit more of that. So that was unfortunate, but it was still pretty fun. I think the track worked out well, and it was still a fun race. Nightmare actually picks up his first win of the season, so 2 new winners to kick off the night. Big win from him. Detail takes 2nd again. I take 3rd again. Coop 4th with a big performance there for Coop, and Camby a top 5 as well. And then we go to Noodleplex. Noodleplex, the AX on Reach, made by Detail. Really fun layout to just rip laps on, and pretty good race at that. Things did get spread out a bit. The AXs definitely seem to have the biggest spread so far, which is kind of what you'd expect, I would say. That being said, once we get to, there's a couple Hog AXs, I'm curious to see how those go. I think those might be more bunched together, kind of like how the Hog TRS went. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, not too surprising that the AXs would have, you know, a bigger gap, and like the spread between the drivers end up being a bit bigger. That's how it's kind of went. you'd expect those in the go-karts to have that. But still a pretty good race, and like I said, still some good battles. Few crashes too. I remember one, I think it was like Soul and Camby, I want to say, because it was double dyno went down. That was a pretty big moment in the race. But I ended up taking the win on this one. This is my first win in the season. So three first-time winners throughout this week. So 5 different winners on the season already 2 weeks in. We'll take a look at that when we get to the schedule. That's pretty crazy. So yeah, Roman actually gets second on this one. Pretty big night out of Roman overall. Detail third. Fourth went to Soul, and fifth went to Nightmare, closing out what was a pretty good night for him too, actually. So overall in this one, I ended up taking the overall with 45 points. Detail second with 44. Nightmare third with 41. Roman fourth with 40. Slaunch fifth with 35. Soul sixth with 33. Camby seventh with 32. Coop eighth with 29. Hunter ninth with 28. All right, let's go over to the points. Okay, so onto the point standings. Things are looking pretty good here early on. Now, you got to remember, this is a shorter season. We're 2 weeks in. There's 8 weeks total. So we're already like 25% of the way, give or take. There's a couple quads in there. But essentially, you know, week-wise, we're 25% of the way through the season already. And right now, I've got the points lead by 3 over Detail, very close. And then, not too far off is Roman in third. Roman's actually putting on a pretty good season so far with 78 points. So Roman's right there. And then Soul and Slaunch very close with each other right now, 73 points, 71 points, respectively. So yeah, the top 5 is pretty close early on. Good to see. And then you've got Hunter and Camby in a tie for 6th and 7th. And then you've got Coop with 56. And then you've got the drivers that only have 1 week so far, which is Nightmare, Armada, and Vulcan. And the best of those by far is Nightmare right now with 41. 41's a very good total, even though he's already going to have some mulligans lost. Obviously not showing up to the first week. So yeah, there's your breakdown of the points. Looking pretty good, looking pretty competitive so far, and should be fun to watch it evolve throughout the season. All right, let's take a look at the schedule. So here you have it, and yeah, awesome to see. I'm gonna pull up on the side actually, if I can, real quick, the Mega Mix schedule, because I'm curious how this compares to that one as far as like the winners go. There it is. Let's take a look at this. We're gonna do a live edition here. Oh yeah, so here's Mega Mix. First 2 weeks of Mega Mix, 3 different winners, because we had me, Armada, and Detail. So 3 different winners, and then we added in Slaunch. That made it 4 different winners, and we didn't get to 5 different winners in Mega Mix until Real Deal at the end of week 5. So it took till week 5 to get 5 different winners in Mega Mix. Week 2 in the Short Track Showdown. That's pretty cracked. That is pretty cracked. And if you want to, you know, look at it moto wise, it was 13 motos here, whereas it was 6. So yeah, like half the time. That's pretty crazy. And we didn't even get to 6 different winners until Soul, and then we capped out there with 6 different winners. So I'm curious to see, what do you guys think? Do you think we'll equal that? Do you think we'll equal 6? Do you think we'll have more than 6 different winners on the season? I don't know. I think it's definitely possible. But that's a cool stat to see. Glad that I checked that, because it's pretty interesting. Okay, so now again, back to the schedule. You see the stuff here, see the different winners and different overall results. Detail taking the hard charger for the first week. I took the hard charger for the second week. See the points gaps here on the side too. The different moto hard chargers as well. But let's take a look at next week. So next week is going to be another 3-race night, as most of them are. Our first quad comes after next week. But yeah, third 3-race night, Lamau, on the season coming up here. Starting off with Enforcer GK. This is a go-kart from Roman on Halo 4, which has some terrain action, some jump action, heavy elevation. This one should be pretty competitive. And then Quadrocurrent TRS. This should be an interesting one. This is a Reach truck, but, you know, labeling it all under the hog. TRS out of Opix. Curious to see how this one races. This one has some split line action, as well as like collisions that you expect to see in TRS. But yeah, we don't always see the split line action. We see some split lines on here. So Curious to see how this one runs. I think there's 2 split lines, actually, and I want to say there's 1 collision. So that'll be interesting. I'm curious to see how this one races. I think it should be pretty fun, especially, you know, we had a banger to start off the season with Hog TRS, so I think this will follow that up nicely. So a good first 2 tracks, and then we're going to wrap up the week with Silver Lake Speedway, which is a terrain oval for myself. And this one is like the most weird of the ones that we've raced so far. Like, I'd say Lantana and Demetria both look like, I don't know, like what you'd expect a terrain oval to look like. Like, it just looks like an oval, but terrain is not too crazy. But Silver Lake is like really weird. Like, I don't know, it feels like you're on a neg camber the whole time, like even on the straightaways, and it's definitely a terrain oval, but it feels the most, it just feels the most weird out of all of them. I don't know how else to explain it. When you see it, you'll understand what I mean. The way the terrain is formed and like the bumps that are on this one, it's really weird compared to the other 2. So I'm curious to see how it races. So yeah, we have some switch ups, even though it's, you know, GK, TRS, and terrain oval again. We have one of the weirdest looking terrain oval layouts. We have a truck TRS on Reach, so switching that up there, and then again a Halo 4 GK. So yeah, different. Even though it's like the same types of like races, it's a different look at all these for week 3. So that should keep things interesting. Hope you guys are looking forward to it. Season's been a lot of fun so far, and yeah, I'm looking forward to keeping it going in week 3 because it's just been a great time. Hope you guys have been enjoying it too. And yeah, I'll see you for week 3 on July 19th. See you there.